Ain't no sunshine when she's home. I wish she would go away. Ain't no sunshine when she's home. I wish she was already gone away. Wonder why she's not already gone. Wish she would go and stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's home. I wish she was already gone away. Darling, you won't ever leave me alone. That's the reason why I wish you were gone. How can I ever say I miss you, darling, when you won't leave home? Ain't no sunshine when she's home. I wish she would go away. Ain't no sunshine when she's home. I wish she was already gone away. Darling, how can I ever say that I miss you, darling, when you won't leave home? Ain't no sunshine when she's home. I wish she would go away. Well, here we are once again. I'm asking you to do me a favor. Like I keep saying, it doesn't cost you anything. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to me. So if you could just take a moment to do this for me, I would really appreciate it. Hit the subscription button and the like button and help me to keep things rolling here. Okay? I will see you soon. Alligator in Alignment. I was just thinking about Bill Withers, the wonderful song he writes, and all of those things. Ain't no sunshine, and Grandma's Hands. I really love. If you've ever heard that, you could keep on using me and just the two of us with Grover Washington Jr. And as usual, I had to go and take a song and mess it up, but that's me. Okay. Right now it's Tuesday. This is the last day of voting, I think it is. And I hope that all of you got your ballot together and have already voted by now. If not, get going. All of these elections now are going to be very, 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 very important. I don't know what happened to my friend Arnold Schwarzenegger, but anyway, I used to like him. I thought he was a Republican, but he was more like a McCain Republican. He would still stand up for what's right. But he's criticizing Newsom for redistricting California. And I'm not a big Gavin Newsom fan. I criticize him often myself for certain things. But I'll take him over another politician any day. Okay. But I think Donald Trump called up Abbott in Texas and told him, says, listen, like he called up the guy and said, find me so many votes, one vote more than I need. So listen, find me, redistrict and find me 5 new districts in Texas. What that would do would actually make it impossible for a Democrat to win. Gavin Newsom simply asked Abbott not to bend his knee to Trump. But of course, you know, he did. And Gavin Newsom, at least half a dozen times that I saw myself, I'm sure he did it more, told them he didn't want to do this. But he told them, he says, if you do that, that's, you know, it's an underhanded thing. He says, if you do that, I'm going to be forced to redistrict in California and find 5 new seats in California to balance the scales, to bring the scales back into. And I don't see why Arnold Schwarzenegger has gone full blown right when he was always, like I say, a McCain guy. I loved John McCain. When Obama ran against McCain, I voted for McCain. Not only for the person he was. Now, he was a conservative, and some of his things I didn't agree with, but he deserved, I mean, put that man, anyway, I'm not going to get into John McCain. But I don't understand why he's criticizing Newsom, because he knows that Newsom was forced into it. He's told Abbott, if you don't bend your knee to Donald Trump, everything's good. But if you do that, then I'm going to have to balance the scales by doing what I'm going to have to do. But anyway, enough of that. I just want to hope that all of us got to vote. And I'm going to speak on this briefly, you know, because you've heard me say on this program before that I've accurately predicted Donald Trump's actions since I voted for him the first time. You know, I got upset with Obama when they asked him to provide assistance to the Ukrainians, and Obama said, "I will provide medical aid and stuff like that, but I won't give them weapons." And when asked why he wouldn't give them weapons, he says, "Well, I don't want to upset the Russians." I was through with him. Now, I thought he was a great president. Now, I guarantee you, on the list of presidents, he's somewhere near the top. And we know that on every reliable poll, Donald Trump is near the bottom, the bottom 3 or bottom 4. I don't think he's any higher than that. But this, I told people some time back, I said, Donald can't let the midterms happen. He can't. He has to do something to stop 2 things, the midterms and the Epstein files. And I said, you know, he could, the only one, anyway, I said he's going to have some way to stop the midterms. When he was with Zelensky at that meeting that they had, and he's accused him of being a dictator, he said, Ukraine should be having presidential elections. Why aren't you having them? He says, you know, you want to be a dictator? Now, here's a man who has said that he thinks America needs a dictator. And he says, I think America needs a president for life. That's what, you know, he said that openly. He says, I think a lot of Americans want a king, he said recently, accusing this man of being a dictator. And the gentleman replied, I couldn't, because the Ukrainian constitution explicitly states We can't have a presidential election if we're at war. When I heard that, the bell went off in my head. I called up several of my friends right away and told them, are you watching this thing? And they go, yeah. I said, did you hear when Zelensky told them about the Ukrainian constitution? They said, yeah. I said, but you didn't hear what I heard. Donald Trump's going to use that. I said, he's going to use this. Zelensky should have never told that man that. He's going to use that. And then I said, you know what he's going to do? He's going to start a war. He says he's going to start a war. And when the midterms come up, he's going to say, well, we can't have the midterms because look at us, we're fighting a war. Even though there's a big difference between Ukraine and the United States. Bombs are not going to be falling here. We won't be fighting here. He'll have a war someplace else. But he'll still use it. And that will serve two purposes for this guy. He'll be able to stop the midterms from happening because he knows if he goes into the midterms, he's a lame duck president for the rest of his term. It'll serve that purpose. And here's another purpose that maybe people wouldn't think about. If he starts a war, and I see he's going to do it with Venezuela now, because right after that he bombed one boat, has no evidence that there was drugs on the boat, has nothing to prove anything. And then he bombs another thing, and maybe three of them now. And if you look at this from a logical point, like many people do, his avid rabbit followers, they don't. He said the boat was bringing drugs to America. That boat could not make it to America without making it many stops for fuel. If he had evidence that there was drugs on the boat, this would have been simple. Track the boat, and when the boat pulled into a port for fuel, especially a friendly port of ours, alert them that you have evidence of drugs being on the boat, and have them search the boat. That would have solved the problem right there. But he's bombing these boats to agitate Venezuela. He wants a regime change there. And now the battleships are out in the Caribbean. They're out around Venezuela. He's building up for that. And you know what? That will stop the midterms. He's going to find a way to say, we can't have midterms, we have war. But it's going to serve a second purpose. Anybody who's been following this thing knows that Putin and this guy are working in conjunction. Okay? That will also give him the excuse to say, we can't supply funds to or weapons or anything to Ukraine anymore because we're at war with Venezuela. Watch what I say. And every time I've been predicting this guy, since he said he wanted to disband NATO or move from NATO or do something, I was through with him. Every time I predicted him, I've always said the same thing. I hope I'm wrong. And those of you who know me, you've heard me say that every time. I said, I really hope I'm wrong. But this is what I see. And I hope I'm wrong about this. But we'll see. It's headed right now in the direction that I said before he even bombed a boat. Okay? So anyway, this is Alligator in Alignment. I just want everybody to, if you haven't voted, it's not too late. Please go and cast your vote. Yes on 50, or if you want to count, no, if you're no on 50, vote like you're supposed to. But those of you who realize what's at stake, you know you must vote yes on 50. Okay, this is Alligator in Alignment. This is about it. I will come back and have another chat with you later, and hopefully with another subject. I may have more stories to tell. We're having the swan song for the Bonton Elroy's Lighthouse Smokehouse in Monterey that I've been playing at for some years now, every second Saturday of the month. The place got sold. It's in escrow. But I will be there this coming Saturday, which would be, I don't have the calendar, but anyway, the second Saturday of November from 7 to 10. That's 794 Lighthouse Avenue. However, the new owners who are taking over, the word is out that they have requested to find out if I want to stay there. They want me to continue entertaining, so I might still be at the same location. And I want everybody to start doing, like I said in my last thing, whatever different sides of the aisles that we have. I've been very good about that. I have some really far right people and just some right wingers. But only one person out of all of my friends have distanced themselves from me. All of my other friends, we're still fine. Because they see things differently or have been listening to Donald Trump. I don't have animosity toward them. I ran I'm not going to get into that. I ran a religion back in the 70s that probably could be called a cult. And I know how easy it is to get people to follow every word you say. Every word you say. I left that thing because we were in 1972, they opened up a fried chicken place in New Orleans. The first one of them. It was called Popeye's Chicken. A lot of people don't know Popeye was a rhythm and blues song in Louisiana, and there was a dance called the Popeye. And the people who opened it, that was the reason for them calling it Popeye. A lot of people wouldn't realize that. They said, "Do the Popeye," Popeye to say a little man. It was a hit. Anyway, we were there, and I told a friend of mine, I said, "You know what? I had about 15 followers at that time, not only in New Orleans, but in Colorado and North Carolina and places like that." And I said, a lot of people keep telling me that, Alligator, when we stop and talk with your people, any question we ask them, all they say is, Alligator says this, Alligator says that, Alligator. He says they never, and I go, yeah. I say, I laugh at them myself. I call them alligator gleeps. You ask them a question, they go, well, Alligator says, and I say, that's not my intention, And I asked a friend of mine who was sitting there with me, I said, what do you think would happen if I went back to that temple and said I was angry at someone or some organization or something? And I said that I thought they should die. And my friend laughed. This is the honest truth. My friend laughed. He said, Alligator, are you kidding me? He says, I know a dozen people who would pick up a gun and go kill anybody you said right now. Do you know that? That was when I looked at him, and this is what I did. I said, you know what? This is wrong. I said, this is wrong. I'm going back. At the time, my car was in the shop, and it was going to be in the shop for another month. I said, I'm going back, and I'm going to pack my duffel bag, and I'm going to get somebody to take me up to Highway 10, and I'm headed to New Mexico. And he said to me, why would you do that? We got these people love you. You know what I mean? You could be living in a mansion like a lot of these guys and driving Rolls Royces. And I said, I don't want that. That's not my intention. I said, but this is wrong. The reply you gave me to my question was the last straw for me. This is wrong. I'm gone. And I left. I didn't know no announcements, no anything. And I didn't come back to New Orleans for 7-8 years after that. I came back to play the Jazz and Heritage Festival, and then I just totally walked away from it. I know how easy it is to get people in a cult-like mindset. Mine was not intentional, but This thing is intentional. There are people who are trying to nip away at our democracy. When they asked Donald Trump if he believed in the Constitution, he says, well, I don't know. That's it. But anyway, enough of this. Alligator in alignment. I will be talking to you soon. Oh, Friday Night Designs, New Jersey. I will tell you more about them when I get back.